Hey there, guys. It's Jimmie Maverick. We are doing another best ball draft. We are post the NFL preseason now. We're in this little dead period. There's going to be a lot of cut downs happening over the next few days, but this is the time to draft. This is when you want to hold your drafts, is starting today and going through next week until the season starts. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing a ton of best ball, just loading up on these teams now. Just did a draft. Went with the strategy where I targeted my quarterbacks late. So again, I always the wide receivers I select determine what quarterbacks I roster. And in this case, I got Garrett Wilson and Drake London as my first two picks. So that means I went for Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers. Both those guys were able to get them after the 10th round, which is very, very nice. And it allowed me to build out other aspects of the team a little bit more than what I have done in some of my recent drafts. So I think it went very well. I want you to check it out. Let me know what you think, and let's do this. All right there, friends, it's Jimmie Maverick. We are going to do ourselves a best ball, and right now we are post the NFL preseason, which means things are getting a lot more set and established, and the risk of injury right now is much, much lower. This is the time to draft. This is the time you want to draft. Okay, we are going to be picking from the 9th position today, so that's awesome. I'm going to bring up the board here, and I'm going to move my board off to the side. So I'm going to be talking about players, and we're going to be making picks. We're following our best ball strategy, which is 5 wide receivers in the first 7 rounds. We are going to get ourselves stacks. All of our top receivers we want to stack with their quarterback. So that's also going to have a determination on who we target at wide receiver. We want to look at high durability players. Draft is starting in 60 seconds, and we're going to use 16 rounds plus to help us pick players. So I've got a special best ball mode here. I invite you to go to the website, 16roundsplus.com. You can sign up for a free account, look at a free limited version of the app. But when you log in, it asks you 3 questions. How does your league score points? We're going to use the best ball rules because there are special ratings for best ball players. Do you want to engage the council recommended player filters? No, I want to see all the players. And then do you want to enter draft mode? Yes. So we're going to enter in the size of our league. We're going to enter in our draft position. And what that does is that's going to break down the list for each round of the draft. So when we're looking at our first pick at pick number 9, we're looking at all the players between our first pick and our second pick at pick 16. There's a little bit of overlap on each side, and it's going to make recommendations. So for right now, it's recommending that we should take A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, or Jahmyr Gibbs with our first pick. Those are all great choices. I love them all. You can also see on the list here, this is all the players that we're looking from. And you can see that we got Bijan Robinson and Amon-Ra also right here. They are both listed as long shots, which means there's a less than a 50-50 shot they will make it to us. I don't anticipate either of those guys making it to us, but if either one of them did, I would take them over my top choice, which is A.J. Brown. But I'm going to be utilizing my queue off to the side here on the draft board. So as I'm talking about players, I'm going to be adding into my queue. So let's put on, Amon-Ra is out of the question right now. Bijan is still there. I'm just going to put him on my list. We got A.J. Brown. We got Garrett Wilson, and it looks like Bijan just came off, as well as Jahmyr Gibbs. So again, Jahmyr has fallen a little bit in the draft board. We'll see if he makes it to us at our second pick. I don't think he will, but that did happen. That did happen yesterday when I did a draft. I was able to grab Jahmyr Gibbs in the second. I do like that. Okay, so A.J. Brown did come off. Now, Justin Jefferson is still on the board, but Justin Jefferson rates terribly on the app. He's got just a lot of negatives, and the biggest negative is wide receivers are only as good as their quarterback. Garrett Wilson has Aaron Rodgers. Justin Jefferson has Sam Darnold. That's easy enough pick for me. So I'm going to take Garrett Wilson. And by taking Garrett Wilson, that means I'm also going to be targeting Aaron Rodgers later. He's a nice late QB2 to pick up. But again, I want to stack him. I want to make sure all my top wide receivers are stacked with their quarterback. So let's move to round 2 here. And round 2, it is recommending Chris Olave, Isaiah Pacheco, Mike Evans. Those guys are all great. I think I want to stick with our quarterback. You can also see Drake London is a long shot for us here. Jahmyr Gibbs is already gone, so that doesn't matter. But I would consider Drake London if he makes it. If he makes Drake London, and that then would give me Kirk Cousins to target later on. And again, another late round quarterback, which is really good to target. So let's see what happens here. So it looks like Drake London did make it to us. And while Chris Olave is the top-rated player, I think I want to go for the upside of Drake London. Again, better quarterback situation. They all rate good. And so what you're seeing over here is these players in each round are rated according to their Cuddy score. They're ranked according to their Cuddy score. So the highest scoring players based on our criteria for Cuddy, which is consistency, upside, durability, depth chart, and youth. In best ball, consistency doesn't matter, so that's removed, but we increase the weight for both durability and upside, and so that's what you're seeing here with these Cuddy scores. But Drake London scores 82, Chris Olave scores 90. They're both good. I like them both. But I'm going to try to take the upside of Drake London, getting Kirk Cousins later as well. He's a better choice as far as I'm concerned as compared to Derek Carr. But anyway, let's move on. Now, round 3 is where I like to pivot to running back. So as you can see, not that many running backs have been taken. Saquon Barkley just came off the board here, end of the second. But it is recommending for round 3, Josh Allen, Zay Flowers, or Jalen Hurts. Let's just look at the running back options. Oh, it's telling me no running backs for the third round. That is kind of surprising. That is a little bit unusual. I do think that there will be some running backs to make it to us, but we've got guys, Derrick Henry, Isaiah Pacheco, Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs. One of those guys should make it to us. I'm actually kind of surprised that we are not seeing, is Jacobs on the list here? Oh, it's saying Jacobs is a 4th round pick. That's unusual there. Okay, but you can see all the wide receivers that are taken. So the fact that we went wide receiver is very, very good. That's exactly what we want to do. But I do anticipate that one of these 4 running backs will make it to us for our second pick. And my favorites, Pacheco and Jacobs, just because the offenses are great. The upside of both these players is fantastic. So it looks like Pacheco did come off. That is usually where he's coming off, his early 3rd. That's fine. I knew he was a long shot regardless. But that is where I want to go. I don't think I would be taking a quarterback this early. Quarterbacks, if I'm going to take him, I'm going to take him in the 4th round. But because we haven't gotten players to stack them with, not really a high priority. Like if I had been able to get A.J. Brown, I would have targeted Jalen Hurts probably in the 4th. That's where I think I could probably get him. But we are moving along here. Now, as far as wide receivers that are still on the board, Mike Evans is still a player that I would be very interested in if he made it to me. Zay Flowers is one that I like. And again, if I could stack him with Lamar Jackson, that'd be great. Mike Evans just went off. Derrick Henry went off. So both Etienne and Josh Jacobs are still on the board. It's just a personal preference. I don't really have that many shares of Travis Etienne. So you know what? I'm going to go that direction today. So we're going to go Travis Etienne. And then if we look to the 4th round, we could pivot back to wide receivers because I don't think I'm going to be taking any of the elite quarterbacks based on the players I've taken in the first part of this list. So Zay Flowers is a long shot to make it to us. Also great. Rashee Rice, although that would mean, I can't get Mahomes here. It's not going to be possible to get both of them. But Calvin Ridley is another great choice here. I'm very big on Calvin Ridley. I really like his upside. Jaden Reed is here as a reach, so that's a guy I could get in the 5th round. I'll put him on here, but I'm not super interested in Reed right now at this point, although Reed would be a good one to get with Jordan Love. George Pickens is right here. Again, Pickens, another one. Not a great quarterback situation. It looks like Rashee Rice went off anyway. Michael Pittman went off. We got Amari Cooper, Xavier Worthy. Amari Cooper, I don't like the quarterback situation. I'm not interested at all in the quarterback there in Cleveland as it's just a mess. Xavier Worthy's another one for Mahomes. So that's kind of a bummer. But Zay Flowers is still sitting here. And I can take Zay Flowers because I think I might be able to get Lamar Jackson in the 5th. He might fall to us. If we look at the quarterback situation here, Lamar Jackson, not really. It's very, very much a long shot. I'm going to go Oh, you know what? Josh Jacobs is still on the board. You know what? I'm going this route, man. I'm going to take Josh Jacobs. Etienne, Josh Jacobs. So this is great. I've got my two non-wide receivers now selected. That's a great RB duo here there. I really like that. That's really, really good. And what we'll do is 5, 6, 7. We are going to go wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. That's what we're going to do. And then we are going to pivot back to probably quarterback in the 8th round. But we'll see what wide receivers we end up with. So if we go, let's go to the 5th round here, recommending Rachaad White, Kenneth Walker, CJ Stroud. See, this is why you don't need to go early on running backs. There's such good options available much later than you would think. But let's just focus on the wide receivers. So for wide receivers, we got Brian Thomas Jr. as a reach. So that's a guy I would probably target in the 6th round. We've got Jaden Reed as a long shot. He'd be great if he falls to us. That'd be fantastic. Deontay Johnson here. Now, I know he is dealing with an injury right now. That is a little bit concerning. I don't like to draft injured players. Christian Kirk, he rates all right here, but I don't like him. I don't think he's as good as Brian Thomas. I think Brian Thomas is going to be the lead receiver on this team. Chris Godwin is a risky pick. Again, he's a 2. Keenan Allen, don't like. Just don't like him. Don't like the situation. Don't like what I'm hearing out of camp, so we'll have to see. Let's see here. What about running backs this round? Again, we talked about Rachaad White, Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon as a reach. James Cook is a risky pick. Quarterbacks this round, CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson are the ones most likely to make it to us. So again, it's not projecting that Lamar Jackson would make it to us with our pick. Even if he falls to us, I'm not going to take him now. If I took Zay Flowers, I would have. Zay Flowers is still on the board. If I did take Zay Flowers and then Lamar Jackson fell, it's a moot point. He's already gone. So the 4 elite quarterbacks are off the board. That's okay. We are not going that route this draft. Let's look at the tight ends here. So tight ends, it's saying Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews are both long shots. I think Mark Andrews is already gone. He is. Pitts is still on the board. I don't think he will make it to us. It's pretty close, but we'll see. But again, I don't really want. Again, I've already taken my non-wide receivers for the first 7 picks. So I got to focus on the wide receivers and get as many of these guys as I can. Right now, Calvin Ridley's at the top of my board, Jaden Reed, George Pickens, Xavier Worthy, Brian Thomas, Deontay Johnson. These are all great options. And this is why I use the queue. I mean, the queue was also really great because it let me know that Josh Jacobs was still available when it got to my 4th pick. He was sitting there at the top of my queue. That's what I like to use. And I always just pick all my favorites and then see if any of them will fall to me. So we've got a few of the guys on my list coming off here. So Pickens comes off, Worthy comes off. There are a few others, but it's just 2 picks to me. I think I got a real good chance here to get Ridley. Good, he didn't get taken. All right, I will take Ridley then. Awesome, that's a great wide receiver 3. Again, that opens up for Will Levis. That's going to be a target for Will Levis, the quarterback, later. Let's move on. Let's go to the 6th round. So for the 6th round, we're going to stick with wide receivers. Okay. So Brian Thomas Jr. is the top rated player. I'd love to get him. Keon Coleman is here. I've got tons of shares of Keon Coleman. We've got Deontay Johnson as a long shot, Chris Godwin as a risky pick, Ladd McConkey right there, also dealing with an injury, although I think he's back from that now. Ladd McConkey might make it to our next pick. We also have what down here, Jackson Smith and Jigba is a risky pick and a reach. Romo Dunze doesn't rate well. Again, very crowded receiver room there with a rookie quarterback. Christian Watson rates as a risky pick, but it is a contract year for him. We got Keenan Allen here, long shot, but I believe he is already gone. Keenan came off. So again, Keenan was a long shot. Marquise Brown also does not rate well. Plus he's injured. Is going to miss some time. He's not very good anyway. So I have no shares of Hollywood Brown. Not interested, not looking his way. So All right, so Rumo Dunze came up, but Brian Thomas is still there. This is great. This also opens up the door for Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback if we want to target him later. So notice how all the wide receivers I've taken, the quarterbacks are still available. That is the way you want to play this. You want to get wide receivers that you can stack. And again, my top 3 stacks would be Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, and Will Levis. I think that's a great trifecta of quarterbacks to target later in. And I always do target 3 quarterbacks in these best ball leagues. Every time I've targeted 2, I always end up getting burned on it, and I end up losing my quarterback. So let's look to the next round here. So not really as many good choices here for the 7th round. It's telling me Jackson Smith and Jigba as a risky pick. Cortland Sutton, who would probably be my selection, as he is the wide receiver 1 on the Denver Broncos. And Denver looks pretty good in the preseasons. We'll see if it translates to the actual season, but they look pretty good. Jameson Williams, Detroit wide receiver, not really interested in him. He is a risky pick. But I don't like his value. I don't like his durability. Jackson Smith and Jigba is showing the best value here. That's interesting. And I have no shares of Jackson Smith and Jigba so far, but that would be I think that could be a good choice here for the 7th round. We'll see if he makes it. We'll see if it happens. But if we look at some other players in this round, Jake Ferguson, the tight end, is a reach. Brock Bowers is now Brock Bowers I'm sorry. Jake Ferguson is a long shot. Brock Bowers is a reach. So Brock Bowers could potentially be available for our 8th round pick. We've got Evan Engram here. That's also actually would be a really good choice. Given that I took Brian Thomas, I could get Evan Engram, and then I would definitely target Trevor Lawrence as one of my quarterbacks for sure. That would definitely be the way. For the 7th round quarterbacks, we've got Jordan Love and Jaden Daniels. Both those guys are reaches, which means both those guys should make it to the 8th round, although it is a little bit risky. If you really want them from this draft position, you should take them 7th round. We are not going to do that. And then the running backs we would be looking at here, guys like Zamir White. Ramondre Stevenson is a long shot. Jaylen Warren, who, again, injured. Not really super interested in that. Jonathan Brooks, risky pick, injured. Aaron Jones, James Conner, not really great choices here in the 7th round outside of Zamir. Zamir is the one I think I would target above all others. But again, we've already got 2 great running backs. I'm super happy with our running back core. So let's see. Let's see what happens here. By the way, McConkey and Cortland Sutton are still on the board. One other guy who I'm putting on the list here is Romeo Doubs, who potentially could be someone on the next round, but I do consider him the wide receiver 1 on his team. All right, so this is going to be our last guy. So we can get McConkey. Again, I think I want to take McConkey. I think I'm going to take him. I've got so many shares of Lad McConkey in these drafts. It's ridiculous. But now we definitely want to pivot, and we want to take a position of need. So for round 8, the quarterbacks will be Jordan Love, Jaden Daniels, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow. We don't need any of these guys because we didn't take any of their wide receivers. So we do not need to take a wide receiver in the 8th round. We can look to the 9th round for our wide receiver. And then for tight end, again, I like the idea of going for Brock Bowers. We also got David Njoku here. Both these guys rate pretty similarly. It looks like Njoku would be the better value. I think I'm probably going to go for Njoku as my tight end 1. If he makes it to us, he should make it to us. This should be an easy pick. And then we'll just go one more round to the 9th round because we'll see what quarterbacks we can get in the 9th round. But we will start to stack up on these wide receivers. So that's what we're going to do. Both Bowers and Njoku are still on the board. By the way, Cortland Sutton, Romeo Doubs also still on the board. We do not need any more wide receivers right now. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take Njoku. And great. So we're doing great here. Like I said, I'm going to go one more round. We're going to go to the 9th round. And the 9th round for quarterbacks, Here's the quarterbacks: Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams. Okay, so again, we do not need to target any of our quarterbacks. Let's see here. When do we need to start targeting our quarterbacks then? Let's see here. Okay, so Justin Herbert is a reach in the 10th. And Trevor Lawrence. Actually, Trevor Lawrence would be the target in the 10th, but we only took Brian Thomas. Not really my top choice, but I could get Justin Herbert here. That would give me my first stack. And then let's see here. When would I need to take? Kirk Cousins would be the 11th. Aaron Rodgers would be the 12th. There you go. So I don't need to take any quarterbacks until round 10. That's great. So I think what I would do here for round 9, just based on this build, let's pivot back to running back. Let's get ourselves a running back. So we've got guys like Tyjae Spears. I'm just going to put other guys in front that I like. So Zamir, I'm going to put on here just in case he makes it. Chase Brown, just in case he makes it. Zach Moss, just in case he makes it. So I'll have those guys at the top of the list. But we've got Devin Singletary. We've got Gus Edwards. Now that would actually be good because that would give me another stack. It would be another stack with Herbert, but he doesn't really catch balls. I guess it doesn't really matter. That's not really a good option. Blake Corum, who is a guy that looks really solid for the Rams. Brian Thomas, Tony Pollard, both risky picks. So they're not too great. Okay, so we got a lot of options for running backs here, but we definitely can get our third, and we should be in good shape. By the way, Romeo Doubs, Brock Bowers, both still on the board here heading into the 9th round. But I'm going to grab one of these. I'm going to grab one of these guys. Looks like Zamir White did come off at the end of the 8th round. We expect that. We knew he was a long shot, right? We knew Zamir was a long shot for this round, if even. I don't even think he's past a long shot. He's like a no shot. If we wanted him, we should have taken him in the 8th round. That's what the app was telling us. So I hope you see the value of the app here. So this is, like I said, it's a tool. You keep it open while you're in a live draft. It's giving you lots of critical information that you need, like the player rating, the value rating, the upside, how durable are they, their consistency, the little lion heads, those are the counselor picks. The little BB icon right there, that's only for the best ball mode. Those are best ball players. Guys I really like for best ball, but not so much for managed leagues. You can see that, and it just gives you lots of critical pieces of information that you need to know when you're in these sort of live draft situations and you're making these last second decisions. It also is giving you the heads up to know who you can target in what round. That's real important, man, because all too often people will think like, oh, yeah, he can definitely make it to my next round. But this app will say like, well, actually, he can't. So, all right. So we're on the clock here. Right now, Tyjae Spears, Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, Gus Edwards, Blake Corum, all available here. I think I am going to go, I'll take Zach Moss. That's who I'm going to take here with my third as my RB3. That's going to wrap it up, man. I'm going to do the rest of this draft. We'll come back. I'll let you know how I did with my quarterback. All right, guys, so the draft went great, and I got to say, this kind of strategy, I think it kind of works for me. I kind of like it. I ended up getting Kirk Cousins in the 11th round, Aaron Rodgers in the 13th round, and Will Levis in the 14th round. I'm telling you, Will Levis is like my favorite 14th round pick right now. I've been taking him anywhere I can. So I succeeded in stacking my top 3 receivers, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, and Calvin Ridley. And then I went ahead and I double stacked Darnell Mooney with Kirk Cousins. So I've got a double stack there. And overall, just fantastic draft, man. I love my running backs, man. Getting both Etienne and Jacobs early was great. I got Zach Moss, Gus Edwards, and then Carson Steele late, 16th round. Boom. I love that. He's coming on for Kansas City. Watch out for him. We just recently added him to the 16 rounds program. So anyway, that's how it went, man. Went pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this team. One big issue was the fact that both Atlanta and New York Jets have the same bye week. So I'm missing a lot of players on week 12. I think that's the week that's going to be a problem for me. But hopefully the rest of the team holds up. We'll see what happens. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hey, go check out the website 16 Rounds Plus. Again, you can still get it. We are continuously updating it through next weekend, through the Sunday of the first week of regular NFL football. You're going to have the latest information as to when players are coming off the board. These late, fast risers, guys like Carson Steele, are guys that are just emerged and are going up very rapidly. So we want to give you the heads up as to when you need to take them, when you need to target them. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Have yourself a great day. I'll talk to you soon.